At age 95, Clint Eastwood spills the beans on director Rob Reiner. Born Clinton Eastwood Jr. on May 31, 1930, in San Francisco, California, during the Great Depression, his childhood was characterized by constant relocation, moving wherever his family could find employment in California. This made him a loner, instilling a penchant for autonomy and emotional detach, which would come to be known as his trademark. As a kid, Clint Eastwood was a reserved, silent child. His early life included music, including jazz and piano, which instilled in him a lifelong appreciation for rhythm, mood, and subtlety. In fact, these aspects of music would come to inform his own filmmaking approach. After high school, he held various jobs, including lifeguard, lumberjack, and gas station attendant. In these ways, he gained a solid appreciation for the experiences of the working class. However, his decision to become an actor was neither instant nor certain. It was a process that happened gradually and almost by chance after he was honorably discharged from the U.S. Army and relocated to Hollywood to look into possible acting engagements. Initially, Eastwood's acting career was marked by rejections and uncertainties. He was signed by Universal Pictures in the mid-1950s, only to be fired due to his performances in small roles, which failed to impress the executives of the studio, who deemed him lacking in charisma and with a bad voice and physical appearance. Instead, he was only more determined. He continued to study acting, taking up minor roles, and wait patiently for the opportunity to arise in which he could develop, not compromise. This finally came about in 1959, in the television series Rawhide, where he was cast as Rowdy Yates, allowing him to work for 8 seasons. Despite the fact that the job ensured financial security and fame, Eastwood felt that his creativity was limited and yearned for more complex themes. The fact that he opted for a huge risk by moving from American television to Italian cinema changed his life and cinematic history. During the 1960s, Eastwood opted to play the character of Blondie in Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This series was a complete revolution in the Western genre and launched the legendary character of the man with no name, a taciturn and ambivalent anti-hero, this time played by Clint Eastwood, speaking little but conveying much through a single look. Clint's acting in this series redefined the on-screen portrayal of the masculine identity. There was neither grandiose overemphasis nor loquacity about this particular artist. All this hero's strength was in restraint. The success of these movies brought him universal acclaim and forever changed the style of Western cinema. More significant, however, was that these movies provided him with control. Control over his career, his artistic ambitions, his independence as a professional. But in the later 1960s and 1970s, Eastwood returned to the Hollywood scene and emerged as one of the most popular stars of the industry. Movies such as Dirty Harry solidified the tough and uncompromising justice man or the tough cop image of the star. The figure of Harry Callahan remains a topic of debate as a symbol of the public expression of frustration with crime and a representation of authoritarian impulses. Eastwood, nevertheless, always avoided easy reading and maintained that his protagonists were more nuanced than ideologically pure. During this phase, he proved extremely versatile, starring in westerns, action pictures, thrusters, romantic dramas, as well as comedies. Films such as Play Misty for Me, High Plains Drifter, The Outlaw Josie Wales, Every Which Way But Loose, and Escape from Alcatraz attested to the diverse and burgeoning skill that Eastwood displayed as a director. He was not just acting. He was learning, experimenting, and silently preparing for his most dramatic metamorphosis. Clint Eastwood, as a director, created a signature style marked by efficiency, controlled emotions, and deep deference to actors. His movies usually dealt with themes of aging, regret, redemption, violence, and consequences, all of which are treated with a depth that mainstream films would not usually be able to do. The peak of his work as a director came with the film Unforgiven in 1992, a Western that deconstructed the codes of heroism and violence that the genre was founded upon. Unforgiven won Oscars for both Best Director and Best Picture for director Clint Eastwood, solidifying him as one of the top directors of the generation that he belonged to. This success was followed by an unparalleled series of critically acclaimed films: Mystic River, Million Dollar Baby, Letters from Iwo Jima, Gran Torino, Changeling, and American Sniper. His accolades reach far beyond Hollywood. Eastwood has garnered awards from the prestigious César Awards. These are among the most esteemed awards in the European film industry. To honor Eastwood's immeasurable contribution to American film culture, the American Film Institute awarded him the Life Achievement Award. This award is bestowed on artists whose contributions have substantially shaped the face of cinema in the United States. This honor is reserved for those whose contributions have significantly shaped the face of cinema. In 2000, Eastwood's international reputation was solidified when he was awarded the Golden Lion for Lifetime Achievement at the Venice Film Festival, an honor second only to the Golden Lion for Best Film at an international festival, as it includes a nomination for his body of work rather than a specific film, showcasing a level of complexity and an auteur voice that continues to resonate even late in his career. France, which prides itself on its deep respect for cinema as an art, has awarded Eastwood two of its highest civilian honors. In 1994, he was appointed a Commander of the Order of Arts and Letters. This was in appreciation of his outstanding contribution to the arts, as well as his impact on culture globally. More than 10 years later, in 2007, he was awarded the Legion of Honor. The Legion of Honor is France's highest award, ranking among the select few who have made their mark across borders. Collectively, these awards reveal the portrait of a filmmaker whose impact is not limited to a single nation or generation, but whose influence continues to define the entire world of cinema on an international scale. His marriage to Margaret Maggie Neville Johnson was the longest, perhaps the most complicated, of the various love affairs of Clint Eastwood's life. After meeting the woman who embodied refinement, intelligence, and common sense, Eastwood in 1953, at the age of 22, still had no clear future to speak of. He was then working at odd jobs, such as a lifeguard, a laborer, or an acting extra, to make a living. It was a time when Eastwood could not foretell the future. They married on December 19, 1953, and this marked the start of a relationship that would endure more than 30 years. During the first years of the new relationship, little progress was forthcoming in Eastwood's acting future, and the lack of financial security hung continually over him. Maggie played an important role at this stage as she offered moral support to Eastwood as he dealt with various setbacks. When he finally got breakthrough success with the hit TV series Rawhide from 1959 to 1965, their lives drastically changed. With fame, they got wealth, exposure, and chances. Yet with it, they also got pressures that would put their marriage to the test in the coming years. When he became famous with his roles in Sergio Leone's Man with No Name series and as Inspector Harry Callahan in the Dirty Harry series, his busy schedule and growing independence affected their marriage. Maggie was less involved with the glamour of Hollywood, choosing instead to keep a low profile and out of the limelight. This was a stark contrast between the public figure of Eastwood and the private Maggie, a situation exacerbated with the passage of time. The marriage was marked by prolonged absence and numerous acts of infidelity, admitted to quite candidly by Eastwood. At age 95, his words are clear and direct, a function of having lived a complete life of his creation, unencumbered by a duty to please others. Reflecting on an industry that has covered a range of approaches over a period of 7 decades, he also takes a look at how himself and others represent changes in this industry. Eastwood on Rob Reiner. The tone is in no way bitter or angry. It is thought-provoking and idealistic, reflecting Eastwood's own belief that the film industry has lost sight of why it was founded in the first place. The notion that films should bring us together, not drive us apart. Eastwood has never had an issue with Rob Reiner as a director. He thinks Reiner is talented and states that you cannot make the number of films Rob has made without understanding timing. In pointing out what he values, Eastwood highlights Reiner's early direction, which is characterized by humor, warmth, and human contact. In these films, he sees the Hollywood that has less focus on ideological messages and more attention to craft. However, what is troubling to him is the apparent shift that is not only taking place in Reiner, but in the culture in which he exists. There comes a point, Eastwood says, when business turned from curiosity to certainty, and he finds certainty perilous in art. He says Reiner represents a breed of Hollywood that no longer allows for dissent, but finds moral superiority in moral conviction. Eastwood compares and contrasts this approach to filmmaking and life. Eastwood says that he never thought that his role in filmmaking was to tell people what they should think, but to show people who they are. Eastwood always wanted his films, even the more provocative ones, to make people think, and not to teach them something. Whether he's made westerns, war movies, or dramas, Eastwood insists that he always trusted people to form their own opinion. As Eastwood describes, the actual difference between himself and Reiner lies not in politics, but philosophy. While Reiner seeks to win an argument, Eastwood seeks to pose a question. He contends that the ideal of Hollywood, which embraced the clash of diverse worldviews among artists who wanted radically different things, has been lost. There was once in Eastwood's memory a time when people could disagree and still respect each other. Today, to disagree is somehow a moral failure. This, he thinks, is related to what he says about activist filmmaker Robert Reiner, in terms of entertainers confusing volume with virtue. Being absolutely right closes doors, and storytelling is supposed to keep them open. However, Eastwood does not position himself as a victim. No one's silencing me, he claims. I already said what I had to say. It seems that the thing that bothers him is the younger generation of film directors, the young filmmakers that are intimidated by the need to conform to the prescribed view. They are afraid to speak the truth. It's never been the truth that's made art. When asked whether he believes Reiner takes the point of this criticism in mind, there is a pause, and then a truthful admission that he doesn't actually know the answer to that question. People hear what they want to hear, he says in explanation. It's not a commentary on the other man as an individual, much less a filmmaker, Eastwood insists. It's commentary on the way the system works.